I'm Greydon. This is Binbuster, and today I have something special for you. As you can see about the board around me, it's my monthly rewind. So today's movie asks you a question: what would you do if you were in dire straits in a city, a town, your apartment complex that nothing's going right? Crime has riddled the streets. No one seems to care anymore. Cops are on strike. No one seems to care what's going on. What do? You become a vigilante. You become a crime fighter. And what you do is you create a whole bunch of silly gadgets. Wear a onesie with your grandmother's house coat and invite your brother along on the adventures as your sidekick. That's right. Today, we're talking BLANKMAN right here on Rewind.
In a city plagued with crime,
Nobody moves!
when hope is gone and help is out of reach,
Please help me.
Hey, get off the car, you bum!
only one man can stand in the way of evil.
Look! I'm a crime fighter!
No man
Get ready to rumble!
has ever been so bold. No crime fighter so brave.
Wanna try it again, pal?
Why don't you shoot him in the head?
Yeah! Shoot him in the head! Uh-oh.
Save yourself. There's no point in us all dying.
I'll never forget you, my love.
And no crusader has inspired so many.
It's a big world, and we all have to do our part.
Columbia Pictures presents
I have to make the world a safer place for my children.
You got to be with the woman first! You a virgin!
Well,
Damon Wayans,
please, call me BLANKMAN.
BLANKMAN. Now, stand back. Cause these guys
To the blank suits!
are what the world's been waiting for.
Did you find a bomb?
Yeah, but not the one we're looking for.
Damon Wayans,
Hang on, I'm coming down!
We're gonna have to deliver this baby.
Can't do that. We'll have to see her thing.
Allen Grier,
Kevin, I can't hear you. What? Talk into the buckle.
I would love to play with you, but now is not the time.
and introducing J5.
My plan serves me correctly. J5 should be gingerly on his way.
BLANKMAN.
Slapped me around and called me Susan.
I warned you, Susan!
I happen to have here a friend of mine. I got Cody right down here. So without further ado, hey Cody, what's up?
What's up, guys? How you doing? Or what? I guess not, guys. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well, man. Today, tell everyone who will be watching this at the later date a little bit about yourself, man, if they don't already know you.
Yep, my name's Cody. I'm from Doodoo Loves Movies. That's one word on Instagram and on YouTube. I have a channel over there that I talk about whatever I want, nostalgic based. And when I was asked to do this BLANKMAN episode, I jumped all over it because I love BLANKMAN. I grew up with this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Watched it over and over again.
I've watched it over and over again so many times myself, but that's for different reasons that I'm going to get into in here too.
Yeah.
But I just thank you for doing this, and as you guys can see, we're talking BLANKMAN, the Damon Wayans, David Allen Grier movie from the late '90s. I mean, this was hilarious. This is peak Damon Wayans. Mm-hmm. This and Major Payne are peak Damon Wayans. Right when him and Keenan Ivory were at their game, about ready to go down, and then Sean and Marlon swoop in and take over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so,
basically, yeah.
Yeah, but basically that was what it was. This was shortly after Damon's stint on In Living Color. I almost said SNL. I've completely, on In Living Color, and it co-stars David Allen Grier from the same show. Those two work so well together, and Robin Givens and Jason Alexander. So exceptional comedy cast there. And the one thing I gotta say is I completely forgot about this, Cody. That Lynn Thigpen, the chief from Where in the World's Carmen Sandiego back in the day, is in this movie. I completely forgot about that until I rewatched it again for this episode.
Who is she in this?
The grandmother.
Oh, she's the grandma. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't even know.
Yeah, because that distinct voice.
Okay.
Yeah. So she's the grandmother in here. I'm like going, even though it's a brief cameo in the 60s and in the beginning, it's one of those things that it's that voice that you realize, and it's a distinct voice. So the reason I love this, Cody, is because I grew up watching on FX the original 1966 Batman. And to me, all the homages, all the spoofs that they do of that show in this movie, that's what drew me in as a kid to this movie.
That's fun. And I'm really cool. I mean, now being older, watching it, I'm like, man, I'm really cool. I'm really happy that they were able to use that footage from the show, because you know how it is nowadays. It's it would be a made up superhero they were watching or something.
Exactly. And I mean, also, even when they were going through different scenes, it was the little BLANKMAN logo that you guys see up there, along with the scene spinning around it. Where in the 1966 Batman, it was the Batmobile, that picture that got spun with the bat emblem there. I'm like, that's perfect. And even the title sequence had the Batman the Animated Series font on it. So I'm like, and then them running in that. I'm like, yeah, this is so awesome. That's why when you stated earlier that you grew up watching this, this is the reason why I grew up watching it, was because of that. So explain to me, how did you first start getting into BLANKMAN? So like what caused you to pick it up at that video store, obviously?
So actually, this was a movie that was on HBO all the time.
Okay.
And I would watch it when I was a little kid. I'd watch HBO 24/7. I didn't care what was on. I would watch what was on. And I really resonated with this movie because I think it's because I was raised by my grandma and he was raised by his grandma. So I was like, and I didn't really see that much. I was like, oh wow. Like even in Mrs. Doubtfire, he mentions it for a second at the very end. But when he said that, I was like, some people are, live with their grandparents. And I was just like, that's me, because you don't really hear about that often in the 90s, even though it was around everywhere. But I was also a huge fan of In Living Color. So that was a huge plus. So I loved In Living Color before this movie came out. So it was easy for me to transfer into, BLANKMAN, and same with Jim Carrey. It was so easy for me to just, I'm like, oh, they're not on the show anymore. Well, let me go watch their movies that they're doing. Kind of thing,
It was really, for me, I watched this after I saw Major Payne, which came out a lot later. So it's like, I saw Major Payne. I'm like, ooh, I love Damon Wayans. What else is he in? Because I knew from In Living Color too. I'm like, okay, what else is he in? And upon the old searching parameters that we had back in the day, it was I found BLANKMAN, and it's like, okay. So I went to my local Blockbuster store. Yes, Blockbuster rented it. It was like maybe the movie I rented, not maybe once a month. Yeah. Once a month it was the movie I rented about once a month. Because every week my dad worked there growing up.
Oh, nice. So
yeah, like towards the end of it, when it was slowly dying, but it was like early, like, what was it, 98 he started, so he was there for the tail ends of it. But I remember going in there, and it's like after school, it was right up the road from my middle school, so I walked there. My dad didn't mind that I was there. His boss said, hey, if he's going to be here, might as well put him to work. He could get a free movie and a Coke or Pepsi out of it. I'm like, okay. So I would run back movies for him. I'd place them back on the shelves. Like, they would check them in, I would just run them back while I was waiting for my dad to get done with work before we went home.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so this was on the rotation for me to rent.
That's awesome.
And I don't know if you saw my first one that I did, which was House Guest. Cal and I were talking about this, and we talked about the chemistry of Sinbad and Phil Hartman in there, and how those two guys never worked together besides that movie and even before that movie. But their chemistry was so spot on. I gotta say, I absolutely love David Allen Grier
Mm-hmm.
and Damon Wayans together.
Mm-hmm. Same here.
David Allen Grier can be such a straight man, but he's also such an hilarious actor himself, or a comedian himself.
I agree.
Yeah. It's like he's sitting there being the mild brother, and like Damon Wayans, this character Daryl is the nerd who makes things out of junk. I mean, growing up as a kid, I mean, maybe a little bit later, teenager, BattleBots was around. I'm like, oh, I can take junk and make it robots? Cool. And then I'm like, going, my robots started looking like J5 or his Booterang or
Booterang,
the Booterang like that. And it was like, oh, that's the extent of my stuff. But
that's awesome.
But I mean, this movie brings you back to a pure innocence, because you have Daryl, who obviously growing up was always into that stuff, always being bright. Some today might say he's a little special, but back then it wasn't really a big stigma of that. It was like he was just eccentric, a nice guy, somebody who just wouldn't grow up, someone who just seemed in that childlike state all the time. And especially when his grandmother got killed by the villain in this movie, it just seemed to permanently stayed in there, and Daryl had to grow up and had to take care of Kevin had to grow up, take care of his brother, and take care of the bills and everything else. And you could just see that tension boiling up throughout this movie, where Kevin doesn't want to be other guy at all.
Yeah.
or how about other guy. I still say David Allen Grier's Karate Man sounded a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he takes karate classes, so why not call him Karate Man?
Yeah, he had a pretty cool costume too.
He did. I love the hat.
Yeah,
I love the hat.
The hat, the little mask, and then he had like the Michigan State.
But speaking of their costumes, how hilarious is it that Daryl wears glasses held on by a fork?
I love that. Yeah.
Well, but he takes them off and puts on a mask over it. Like he doesn't even put the glasses on over the mask. It's just, hey, look. I'm like, if you need if these are prescription glasses, you're fighting crime blind. I'm like,
that's just like, when you're going into a movie like BLANKMAN, those are some things you just overlook.
No, I know. Yeah. I understand that and everything. So
it was the 90s.
I mean, pure 90s, and this just does that. I mean, Jason Alexander, this is pre-Seinfeld, playing the boss of Hard Edition. Like one of those shock jock shows that they had out there back in the day, what TMZ used to be, honestly.
Yeah, like Hard Copy and stuff like that.
Yeah, Hard Copy. What they all used to be, and Jason Alexander just kills it in that role. I especially love the part towards the end of the movie when he's chained up and he's like, "I'm gonna get you," and the wheels are just spinning on his wheelchair and he's chained up high and he just
And this was in '94, so actually this is the height of Seinfeld.
Seinfeld? Okay.
So he was probably the biggest star in this movie, arguably because of the Seinfeld success. Even though I know that, like, In Living Color was a huge show.
Yeah.
But not everybody watched that show.
Exactly.
Almost every TV on Thursday night had Seinfeld on, like someone's parents were watching it or something like that. So he probably brought a lot of credibility to this movie.
Yes.
But you definitely don't see it. Like if you talk about BLANKMAN now, people don't know he's in it. They just know it's Damon Wayans if they know the movie at all. Because I know a lot of people. I went to film school and I had to do a paper on the hero's journey. And my hero's journey paper was on BLANKMAN. And I remember my teacher thought it was amazing. He's like, "That's awesome. You picked BLANKMAN. Everyone else was picking Batman or they're picking, like Star Wars or something like that."
The easy ones to do.
Yeah. I picked BLANKMAN, and he was just like, "Wow, that's awesome." He knew it, but nobody else out of the 20 people in my class, nobody's even heard of BLANKMAN.
Wow.
Except for me and the teacher.
You got to educate them on the wonders of BLANKMAN.
I did.
But like I remember going around when I was a kid dressed up as a superhero. Like Batman '89 was shortly out when I was 5. I remember getting the little costume kits that you had with the breastplate, the belt, the grapple gun, the little gauntlets, and then the mask. I remember running around the house with that one Christmas afterwards, but that all eventually broke, and then I just started tying a sheet around my neck like Damon Wayans does.
Yeah, Damon Wayans,
It was like, oh, I'm a superhero.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because I was Batman for Halloween one year, the Michael Keaton setup and everything like that.
Yeah.
And I remember when Mortal Kombat came out, I was like, oh, I want to be a ninja. So I grabbed my mom's pantyhose and I put it around my head. And in my mind, I was Sub-Zero. But I was just running around. I was some crazy kid running around with pantyhose on my head. Hopefully they were clean. I don't know.
Well, at least in the 90s, they didn't think you were trying to rob somebody.
True.
Isn't that stereotypical robber scene in movies?
Yeah. Well, I had it I didn't have it over I had it wrapped around my head. I look like a.
Oh, okay. So it was wrapped. Was it actually pulled over?
Yeah, it was pulled over. It was wrapped so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of like a mummy.
Yes, kind of. Yeah, I thought I was Sub-Zero. You couldn't tell me otherwise.
And then WCW came out, and then they had Glacier, who was more Sub-Zero than that. It's like, Glacier, but anyways, like for those of you that who would be watching this don't know about their work together in Living Color, it seemed like almost every other episode or every other week that when they had a sketch, it was Damon Wayans and David Allen Grier together. There was Men on Film, which was hilarious. And it was like always when he did Homie the Clown, David Allen Grier was always in those skits with him. I think Damon realized early on that David brings out the best in me. So whatever I'm going to try and do, I want to do it with him.
It's like Keenan and Kel.
Yeah, it's like Keenan and Kel. And like back in the day, it was like Farley and Spade. It was like Farley and Spade, where they knew they could bring out the best in each other and it would be gold. So, in rewatching this movie, I like the aspect of, like you said, with the hero's journey, where he goes from no one believes him that he can clean up the city, that one man can't clean up the city. Even the mayor gets corrupted in here. And then because of BLANKMAN, the mayor gets that hero's journey. He comes around again, ultimately sacrificing himself to save the bank where all the money is.
Money is to save the city's bank. Or
just
the money. City's money.
And then BLANKMAN gets blamed for everything, and then he goes from savior to
working at McDonald's.
To working at McDonald's, which was hilarious because it's like every 90s movie had a McDonald's scene, it seemed in it. And he's seen on the subway, same subway thing that at the beginning of the movie where he thwarted the purse jackers. Same subway, but yet this time he just sits there and reads his crew book. And then the lady just whacks him and he moves away. He's like, oh, I'm done.
Moves to the next.
But see, that's the thing about the hero journey, too, as you know. It's one of those things that there are those bumps in the road, kind of like that, where, this happened, you're no longer our hero.
It's a setback, yep.
Yeah, it's a setback. And being that hero's journey, how do you overcome that setback? Or even in life, how do you overcome that setback? And seeing that Kevin helped Daryl overcome that, he goes, the city, once he finds out that their grandmother was killed by Manelli, that's the thing that flips Daryl into back. I need to do this for Grandma, which I felt was very awesome. It's kind of like the same way Bruce Wayne does it because of his parents' death as Batman and everything. So I kind of like that in there. Yeah. And to you, Cody, what is the one scene or a couple of scenes that stand out to you in all this?
So the bank
in this movie.
The bank scene was one of them, and him screaming J5, J5, that, and him when he gets kissed, he's like ma, I always thought about that when I was like, I think about it constantly now,
When you get kissed, the world wants to know, do you act like that?
You have no idea how bad I want to sometimes.
I think it would be hilarious. Well, growing up, I had no idea what was happening until like the talk or even sex ed in school. It's like, after seeing it after that, it's like, I get it now.
Yeah.
Type of thing. It's like, oh, in my head, it's like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, and I always like the part when they're like, "What if he shot you in the face?" He's, yeah, what if he shot me in the face? Kind of, that
shoot him in the face. Yeah,
shoot him in the face. He's like, oh.
Well, he at least is wearing a mask. You would think at least the mask would be protected, but from that stuff. So I'm shocked he just didn't invent like some hood to put up over it after that.
Yeah,
but
and then it cracked me up when I was a kid when when they're in like the water booth thing for the lottery, and J5 has to come over and he like puts the little holes where he's peeing. God, that was comedy gold when I was a kid.
It was. I mean, I watched it when I was watching it just the other day for this stream to just refresh myself on it, and I was laughing. I was eating dinner as that scene was happening, and I'm laughing hysterically. Side note to everyone: this is a warning. Don't watch this movie if you're eating. You might choke to death. Because it's that. Yeah, it's that funny. Well, I love that bank scene, especially when Minnelli blows up the floor and comes up. And he's like, "Oh, who better than the guy wearing satin?"
Yeah,
it's like I'm like, that's so totally like cheesy 60s, 70s supervillain. If it doesn't, if anything else, so it's like, and I like the one where it's like, oh, we're trapped. Oh, J5 will save us, and he's on the stairs.
Down the stairs.
Yeah. It's like okay, he falls down the stairs. But yeah, when they put the bombs in him, it's like where they were at in that building. It's like, did he just fall down the stairs with a whole bunch of bombs inside of him and did not blow up? Okay. but like you said, it's 90s. It's supposed to be a superhero movie, so I could throw all that realism out the window, which is great in my opinion. That's why I love superhero films, especially early 90s stuff like this, where there was nothing. Oh, we have to keep it in a shared universe, so we have to follow this suit, or it's stuff like this is just pure gold. The Mask. I mean, we got Mystery Men in the early 2000s. I mean, we had Dick Tracy.
Don't sleep on Meteor Man.
Yeah, Meteor Man. Yeah, that's a very good one.
And Steel. I am a fan of Steel. Some people aren't, but I like Shaq movies. I'm a big fan of Kazam. Believe it or not.
I am Kazam. But well, people sleep on Shaq movies, even though Blue Chips is a Shaq movie that no one talks about, and where he plays himself. Pretty much, he plays himself in there.
Yeah.
Or even Uncle Drew. He's in Uncle Drew too.
I wanted to see that. I never saw it. It looked funny though. You know what? Uncle Drew reminded me of a 90s movie that I would absolutely love.
Yeah,
that's what it reminds me of.
It's awesome, Cody. Check it out.
I definitely want.
Yes, if you like Shaq movies, you're gonna love this one. It's awesome. But like Steel was another one. Yeah, it was kind of cheesy and everything. But after the Christopher Reeve Superman for 20-some years, you're like, yeah, we need to try something different. And in the comics at that time, John Henry Irons was becoming very popular. But the one thing I didn't like was that fact that in the comics he figured out how to fly, but he was in a motorcycle in that movie. Yeah. But I digress. Speaking of motorcycles, how awesome was the blank wheel?
The blank wheel, yeah. He keeps turning it off when you can't hear what he's saying.
I can't hear you. What? And especially when he's with Robin Givens, with Kimberly, and it's like the train's like stopping behind him each time. It's like, oh, that's awesome. But I find it hilarious because J5 is with him in the first one when he's just driving it. I didn't see J5 in it when they pull out with David Allen Grier on it, but yet J5's at the bank. I didn't see that. I'm like going, there's no one because when they bust out, there's nobody sitting there. J5 is not sitting there. I'm like, why is he in the back? Why isn't he sitting in the sidecar? I would have loved, just seeing that and seeing his contraptions. I especially love how he opens up the elevator door for the pregnant lady.
Yeah.
How he uses this speculum that actually is used to help pregnant women give birth, and that way uses the lube, as we're going to call it.
And then he starts going down, and David Allen Grier just jumps down like a foot.
Yeah, exactly. And all the other gadgets, like the breakfast one he did, where all the little cereal things, reminded me so much of Wayne Szalinski from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah,
well,
exactly,
Like I'm like, oh, okay, this guy's a tinkerer. Okay, you can tell that. Or when he starts getting all the gifts, and he finds out, oh, I had $5,000. Yeah, I return all the money, and David L. Grier starts throwing stuff out, and Damon Wayans just hands him his own radio, and he throws it out. He goes, and he's so smirky. He's like, "What was that? Your radio? Get back here!" And he just starts chasing him.
Into the bathroom. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I mean,
this movie is a good time.
Is
it a great movie? No, but it's just funny and nostalgic, you know.
Yes.
And even if you're gonna watch it for the first time today or tomorrow, you can still get some laughs out of it. Just don't take it seriously, you know.
Exactly. So if like Cody said, if you don't want to be taken seriously, if Guardians of the Galaxy but turned up a notch is your type of humor in superhero films, check this one out. It's a good time.
Yeah,
you're gonna laugh from beginning to end, and you'd be like, at the end, you'd be like, "What did I just watch?"
Yeah, he's just an average guy, no superheroes, just a big heart wanting to save the city. You know.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, who doesn't like
relatable.
It's very relatable. It's very relatable. Who doesn't want to clean up their city where they're at? There's some things you don't like about where you live. You want to change that. Here's a prime example of someone who's like, I'm not just going to sit back and complain about it. I'm going to actually do something about it.
Yeah.
And yet changes the entire city for the better of it all too.
He does. Yeah. There's that line. He's like, look, they're selling crack over there. He's like, of course they are. It's a crack house. You know, it's like, I don't know why that makes me laugh.
You can't go inside the crack house.
Yeah. And it's true. He's like, if you shut down that crack house, another one's gonna pop up down the street or next door to it. You know.
Yeah, it's kind of like how you shut down a street corner, and the next street corner, those same people are right there again.
There's always another street corner. Yep.
There's always another street corner, and then they got replaced. Those street corners got replaced by Starbucks. But anyways, so usually one of the last questions I ask Cody is, and it's on the thumbnail, should it be forgotten? This movie hasn't gone past DVD. And usually most people's minds, if it doesn't go past DVD or VHS, if it doesn't have a Blu-ray or 4K, it's usually a forgotten film. So my question to you is, and that's what I close with all the time, is should this be forgotten?
Personally, absolutely not. And it does suck that nowadays, if it's not on Blu-ray or 4K, it does get forgotten. So but if this comes out on 4K, people are you'll see people talk about it again. So I do, maybe not today or tomorrow, maybe not this year or next year, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna get BLANKMAN at least on Blu-ray somewhere from Kino or it's Columbia Pictures and TriStar. So
so it's Sony.
Okay, so I'm sure it's coming somewhere. I also want to mention one thing before we do get out.
Oh yeah,
it has an awesome soundtrack. Very cool soundtrack. If you can't tell, I am a big BLANKMAN fan. This, like I said, it's been a movie that's been part of my life since '94. So ever since it was on TV or on HBO, it's been a part of my life.
And speaking of where you can find it, you can find it on YouTube with ads for free. Like actually, there's like a YouTube movies channel that I stumbled upon trying to find the trailer for this. I'm like, oh wait, I can watch this for free with ads. Click, and yes, it makes the movie almost 2 times as long, like it used to be back in the day on TV.
Yeah.
but it's unedited because even after I was done watching it, I placed in my DVD copy. And it's unedited. It's just there's ads. They just put ads in it, so it's like. So they can do it for free. I'm like, this is actually pretty cool. So if you haven't checked it out, check it out on YouTube for free with ads. Check it out on, I don't think it's streaming anywhere because when I looked it up, I saw it was on Pluto for free. I saw YouTube for free, and I saw like YouTube with subscription. So it's like
and I would like to say that this DVD would be pretty cheap because I remember it used to be. But man, sometimes I'll look up DVDs and thinking they're going to be like $5 to $10, and they're like $26. So I don't know. And I bought this when it originally came out. So But I thought I remember seeing it, like at Target, like for $5, but that was a different time. So I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, it's like I think when I was looking at it up on Amazon, I own it, but I was looking it up on Amazon. I think it was like $7-8.
Oh, nice.
So it's not not too bad for something from the '90s. Yeah, that's definitely a great price on DVD.
I'll tell you what, man.
Yeah,
the Beverly Hillbillies movie.
Yeah,
have you ever seen that movie?
Oh, I love it.
Okay, so I love that movie too, and I watched it on TV like HBO all the time. So I never bought it. Then I remember I kept seeing it at Target for $5, and I was like, "Oh, I'll get it next time. I'll get it next time." And then all of a sudden, it wasn't there anymore. So I looked it up online. It was like $65. Now I don't have the movie. So it's just like, man,
you never know.
It switches like that real quick.
Yeah. And something like this, like I said, it's Columbia TriStar. You said so. That is Sony. Columbia became a Sony company. So
okay. So there's hope.
There's hope. Even
it's not Disney, so that's good.
Well, even if it's my wife. It's Wife and Kids Productions. It's Damon Wayans' own production company. Even if it means, because I know they did. I think Wife and Kids also did White Chicks. That was part of the production company that did White Chicks for them. Even if they released it by the Wife and Kids pack and did it that way, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. But like if you hadn't seen my 4K box set, this was actually in there.
I've not seen that yet. I've not seen it yet. No.
My superhero. If you haven't checked it out, everyone check out my Tim Dog Stockies 4K box set. It's the one with me holding up a box set. I just wrote 4K box set on it.
Okay.
And actually pulled it out.
Okay, I remember that. You did a couple, right? Didn't you do another one as well?
Yeah, I did a Sandra Bullock one. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Sandy B.
Yeah, I love me some Sandy B. So that's why I did that one. But yeah, this movie made it in there with like Dick Tracy, Darkman. So yeah, I had a bunch of pure 90s nostalgia in there for my superhero stuff. And I'm like, these are movies that need this release because they would just be fantastic on there.
And I know that there are people out there that like this movie because when I'm on streams or I mention it in a video, I get a lot of comments on it. So there is people that would buy. There are people out there that will buy this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And that's the thing too. BLANKMANIA will sweep the nation again.
Yeah.
Which was funny because at that time, Batmania was popular still. Batmania was a huge thing. Like I remember seeing the VHS called Batmania. I'm like, oh, this is all talks about history of Batman. No, it's the history of how popular Batman became after '89. That's crazy. Like how it just sparked and barrel rolled. And then talks about how Robin Williams is going to be the Riddler in in a movie. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. And all of a sudden we got Jim Carrey. And then Tommy Lee Jones. Yeah. The villains weren't too bad. It was just the change of direction of that movie. Yeah. But anyways.
I'm a fan of the Joel Schumacher Batmans as well.
Yes.
So, but yeah, I know they could. I know they could have been something else. I do know.
Yes. If Damon Wayans and David Allen Grier ever get wind of this video, do a BLANKMAN Returns.
So it's funny. A couple years ago, I was looking up something and I was watching somebody ask. I think it was TMZ asked Marlon Wayans. He was like, "Hey, you guys gonna do a BLANKMAN 2?" And he just looked at the guy and shook his head. I was like, I don't know if he doesn't like the movie or if he's like, okay, this guy's just being an ass to me kind of thing. So hopefully Damon Wayans likes this movie and knows how much people love it. And if you are listening to this, Damon Wayans, if there's anything you can do, put this on physical media or put it, upgrade it,
upgrade it. If you have any say in it, write Sony, Damon, and do that because we know your son's acting right now too.
Yeah, he's in this movie too.
Yeah, he is.
He plays he plays him as a little kid.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Plays Kevin as a little
kid. Plays Kevin as a little kid.
He plays Kevin, yeah.
He plays Kevin as a little kid, in there. Which is one thing I always liked about the Wayans brothers movies. You always look closely. You can find their other family members.
You can find other Wayans in there.
Yes. And I mean, even now, it's like when Sean and Marlon do something, you don't see Damon or Keenan or even Kim, but you see their kids or even their siblings who are directors or producers or writers. They're all in there. It's like, hey, we're just making a movie. Okay, can we come hang out?
Yeah.
And I love that. And I love that about any Wayans brothers movie. or any of the Wayans family movies. It just feels like they have a good time just shooting a movie.
Yeah, and they have a thumbprint on it, so you know it's
Yes.
a Wayans brothers or a Wayne. I shouldn't say Wayans brothers.
Yes,
It's a Wayans
Wayans,
movie.
a Wayans family movie. Yes,
yeah, Wayans family, and
ooh,
you know,
Wayans family values.
that'd be awesome.
Yes.
But yeah, man. So yeah, like even when Damon Wayans is in something, I will go out of my way to watch it because of this movie. This movie made me the biggest Damon Wayans fan. So now I watch everything I can. If he's in, you know, if I hear he's going to be on the new Lethal Weapon show, I was not interested in that show until, you know, Damon Wayans is on it. So of course I'm gonna watch it. You know? I
wasn't interested either. I'm like, ooh, okay. I mean, they are Briggs and Murdoch. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, huh. Damon Wayans. I'm like, could we just get Adam Sandler back in here and get a Bulletproof? Come on, Lethal Weapon, Bulletproof. Yeah. Come on. But I just want to say thank you, Cody, for coming and joining me today on this episode of Rewind. And you're welcome. I like closing. We just don't want to sit here and collect movies. We want to watch them and we want to talk about them. Stuff like this. Like if you haven't checked out Rad Dudes yet, him and Garrett over there, Born to Be Rad on YouTube. Yeah, right there's a shirt. I love that shirt in those colors. It reminds me so much of 80s or 90s wrestling shirts. Yeah. With Hulk Hogan. Yeah. But
we're still running wild over here, guys.
Yeah. So if you check out that, I know they recently just did like ninja movies. Like they talked Surf Ninjas, they talked Street Ninjas. Yes, 90s ninjas movies, and it was a fantastic episode. I enjoyed it.
It was fun. It was fun to do.
It was a fun one. So check that out if you haven't checked it out. Garrett does a lot of stuff with the Rad Pack too. Cody's a huge sponsor of that. Sponsor of that. I'm shocked he isn't an official member. Like he's an unofficial member because of Rad Dudes now. So I'm shocked he's not part of that core group right there. So
I'm part of the family. They don't.
Yeah. It's a good family to be a part of, though. Yeah. It is.
Yeah. It is. Rad Pack is a solid 3, but I'm part of the family.
Yes.
I'm there at the barbecues, as I should say.
you're there at the barbecues, but yeah, when it comes time, when the lottery wins, they don't include you. Yeah. So. That's Uncle Cody. We don't talk about it, but hey, we're here.
I'm like the little annoying brother. That's who I am.
So you're Kevin McAllister's younger brother. You're Kieran Culkin in Home Alone. Yes.
Kieran Culkin. I have too much Pepsi.
Yes. But anyways, I just want to say thank you. Tell us one more time where they can find you, Cody.
You can find me on YouTube and Instagram. That's Dude Who Loves Movies, one word. And just come have some fun and let's talk nostalgia and all kinds of movies like BLANKMAN.
Yes. Cody had this awesome video. Just his last one he just posted was about those candles, those nostalgia smells.
So in the beginning it was candles, but they were spreads.
Yeah,
they were nostalgia spreads.
Yeah,
that taste like things like like Trix or the Ninja Turtle pies and the Ecto Cooler. So it was really cool. And my favorite one was the Trix yogurt, which was really
nice.
Really good. I haven't had Trix yogurt in forever, so it was a nice surprise to have.
Yeah, I haven't had that in forever myself either. You're now making me hungry to go upstairs, grab some ice cream, put some Trix in my blender, and just mix it up, see if it comes out the same. So
not the same.
Probably won't, but
probably not. But
and as always, you guys can find me, the Binbuster, right here on YouTube. My Instagram, everything, even Cody stuff is going to be all down below, all down in the description below. And as well, if you like talking movies, I'm part of a network of a group of my friends who talk wrestling, sports, and now entertainment. On the Bloodline Entertainment Network, I have a show called The Director's Cut that's live every Tuesday. So come check that out. I'll even put a link down below for that show. I just did Fast X this past week. So next week it's viewer's choice. So who's going to win? Check out my Twitter if you want to vote, because it's going to be who's going to win between Weird and Air, which one I'm going to deep dive into this next Tuesday. So either one's a good movie. I'm not disappointed as to which one loses, but they're both going to be a great time. So
like a good time.
It is. It's a very good time. And I just want to say thank you for everyone for watching. Thank you for doing these rewinds, and for those of you who've commented and watched these, you guys are amazing, because the whole premise of this show was to talk about these movies that people tend to forget because we're all focused on 4Ks, Blu-rays, stuff like that. And if it's not on there, it's normally movies that are kind of forgotten, like they did on their 90s ninja movies, like Three Ninjas, Surf Ninjas. Those are things that could fall into this show. You'd never know when. So, yeah. So without further ado, I would just want to say goodbye, good night, and as always, remember to hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up, and hit the bell notifications for more videos like this. Have a happy Memorial Day, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.